Hello, welcome to a new video. Today I am bringing you my October wrap up, and it's a pretty hefty wrap up, not the biggest wrap up I've done this year, but also not the smallest. But looking at the stats, it's not the best. So I read 19 books in total. I did 7,056 pages, and that was only 50 hours of audiobooks. I read physically quite a lot this month. And my average rating, I don't think I usually tell you my average rating, but my average rating was 4.2, which, let me just have a look, is the worst average rating I've had this year. Last month it was 4.3, but I've been having like 4.6, 4.5. I've had a 4.4. I've had a 4.7. And then last month and this month have been 4.3 and 4.2. So not amazing, but it's fine. It's fine. So yeah, I had no 2 stars, 5 3 stars, 6 4 stars, and 8 5 stars. So the 4 and 5s have balanced out a little bit. I did have 1 DNF. So let's talk about that one quickly. So I DNF'd Rabbits by Terry Miles, which is a book I've had on my NetGalley for like 3-4 years, and I've DNF'd it. I got, how many pages into it did I get? I got 160 pages in, so I was a decent amount through, and I had no clue what was happening, and I just didn't care. It just felt like so much was happening, but also nothing was happening. And the story didn't feel like it was progressing, so I weren't wasting my time when I weren't enjoying it. So that was the DNF, and now let's just go through the actual books that I completed. So we started off the month extremely strong with an anticipated read, Pirate's Life for Tea by Rebecca Thorne. Obviously I read Can't Spell Treason Without Tea in September, and it was like my favourite book of the month. So this didn't disappoint. It was a 5-star. And my favourite thing about this is, well, not my favourite thing, but one of my favourite things about this is the dedication. To the people who gave me 1-star reviews because the first book had lesbians. I doubled the lesbians in this one, just for you. Can confirm, double the lesbians. It was amazing. I love this so much. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm so grateful that Andy convinced me to read it, like read the first book, because this is a new favourite series and I'm obsessed. So, yes. Next up, I read Tick and Play by Ali Hazelwood, which is a novella that is only available currently on audiobook, which I had a bit of a rant in my vlog about that because it's not very accessible friendly, because people who can't listen to audiobooks or don't like listening to audiobooks now have to wait for this book for God knows how long, because it will eventually come out in ebook format, but that doesn't help people now. I'm lucky. I love audiobooks, so I was straight on this on release day, and of course it was a 5-star. It was nice to see something that wasn't set in STEM or werewolves. So this is gaming developers, and it was really interesting. And I really loved it. I would eat up an entire book on these characters because they were great, just in the short amount of time I had them for. So yeah. Next up I read Half a King by Joe Abercrombie. Okay, I wanted to try Joe Abercrombie, and I have. It was a 3-star. I'm unhauling this. I'm not continuing the series, and I probably won't pick up anything else by him because this was the only one of his books that sounded interesting to me. So I'm just going to leave it there. Next up was Dead Voices by Catherine Arden, and this was a 5-star. Oh, that's the gift note. Oh, it was a Secret Santa from Bobby. Yeah, I love this series, and I won't actually be finishing the series. I'm going to read the 3rd book in the series. The 3rd book is called Dark Waters. However, I won't be reading the 4th and final book because it is clowns, and if you know me, I don't do clowns. And Jem looked it up to see just how much the clown was in it. And apparently there is a general consensus that it's not a great ending to the series. So do you know what? I'm okay. As far as I'm concerned, Dark Waters is the end, and then I'll just look up what happens in the 4th book at the end to see what actually wraps up the entire series. But I really enjoyed this. For a middle grade, this is terrifying. People that are really into adult horror are not going to find this terrifying. They might find it a bit jumpy, like a bit, ooh. But like, I personally found this terrifying. I jumped at multiple points. And I was like, why am I reading this at night? I need to stop. So yeah. Next we have The Keeper by Guadalupe Garcia McCall. This was a 4-star. I really enjoyed this. So this one wasn't like super scary. There was a few like intense, creepy parts, but it wasn't scary, which is what I want from a middle grade horror. But I really enjoyed this. It was really interesting to see how it all played out, and would recommend. Next up we have The Torchbearers by Ali Condé and Brendan Reichers. This was a 4-star as well. I really enjoyed this. This was a great ending to the series. I have loved this series. It's taken me so long to get through the series because I read the first 2 books years ago. But I finally finished the series and I absolutely loved it. It's just so fun. It's so fun, and there's so many characters, but you don't get confused by all the characters, and it is just great. The dynamic between the friendship group is just so much fun as well. And it's monsters. Next up was Tyrants Throne by Sebastian de Castell. I finished The Greatcoats. So this was a 4-star, but it scraped a 4-star. This was this close to being a 3-star. I just wasn't a big fan of this. It was a really disappointing end. Like, I liked the ending, but the way we got there, I didn't. It just felt like the final big battle was over like that. And then there was this massive extended epilogue. And I was like, why did we need this? I wanted the big action ending scene to go on longer and then us have a small epilogue. And it just, I didn't get that. And it was a disappointment to me. So this is going back to the library. And I'm glad I've not got my own copies, because they would have been being unhauled. Next up was another not great one. It was Miss Roll by Heather Walter. This was a 3-star. I was really disappointed in this. It started out really, really interesting, really good. I really was enjoying it. And then about halfway through, I was just like, I don't actually care. And Ash ducked out a lot sooner. I managed to finish it. I don't blame her for ducking out. I kind of wish I had just DNF'd it. It was really disappointing because I absolutely loved the first book. And I was so excited for this, and it started off on a real big high, and then it just, no, I just wasn't a fan. My unhaul pile is looking great right now. Next up I read The Woods Are Always Watching by Stephanie Perkins. This was a 4-star. I enjoyed this. It didn't go the way I was expecting it to go, but I did enjoy it. And when I say enjoy, that's a really weird word for this type of book. But it was like, it was scary in the sense like this could happen. Not to me, because I ain't going to go hiking. But it would have got a 5 if it had been what I was expecting it to be. Which is a shame, because I was really in the mood for that type of book. But it wasn't that. But anyway, I really enjoyed it. It was really atmospheric and creepy. And it was great. It was just a different vibe to the other things I'd been reading. Next up is For Better or Cursed by Kate Williams. This is the second book in the Babysitter's Coven series, and I was pleasantly surprised by this. So this was a 4-star, and I genuinely wasn't expecting to enjoy this because the first book was just a bit for me. So I was fully expecting to read this and be like, And I didn't get that feeling. I actually really enjoyed it, and the ending has me gripped enough that I actually do want to read the next book, which I think is the final. I think this is only a trilogy, but yeah, I want to read book 3, which is good. I'm okay with this. Next up was an obvious win. I did my reread of Bride by Ellie Hazelwood. And when I say I did my reread, I did my second reread. I've read this book 3 times this year. It's not quite Love Hypothesis standards, but it's close. I mean, it's halfway there. Living on a prayer. Had to. I love this book. Do I need to talk about this book again? No, but here we are. 5 stars. These are my tabs from last time I reread it, but I did a buddy read of this with Chloe for her Patreon buddy read, and it was just so much fun rereading it again. Next up is Shadow Study by Maria V. Snyder. This is the first book in the study series, and it was a 5 star. I absolutely loved this. Now, I love the Glass series, and I love Opal, but there is just something about Yelena and Valak that is just, they own my heart, and I'm so happy to be back with them. I'm so excited to continue this trilogy. Next, we have All That Consumes Us by Erica Waters. I've got to try and hold it a certain way because it's shiny. This was a 5 star. I'm not shocked in the slightest because it's Erica Waters, and I think all 3 of the books I've read by her now have been 5 stars. I absolutely loved this. It was very different vibes to her other 2 books. This was like dark academia, and I don't tend to gravitate to dark academia. Like, it's not something I'm like, I have to read it all. Like, if a book interests me, I'll read it. This was so good. It's actually made me want to read more dark academia. But then I'm like, but will I like it? Because it won't be by Erica Waters. But this was great. I had no idea where it was going until it was getting there. And I was like, I'm okay with this. Next up, I buddy read Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell with Ash and Jem. This book terrified me, but you know what? It got a 5 star. So this is set in the Appalachian Mountains. If you know anything about the Appalachian Mountains and skinwalkers, that says it all. This was so creepy. Terrifying, but I'm so glad I read it. Next, I read The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher, and this was a 3 star. I started out really invested in this. It was really creepy. There were things happening that I was like, what the hell is this? Especially since I was reading it basically alongside Stolen Tongues, and it was very similar vibes, and then it just wasn't what I was expecting, and it was just a huge letdown for the end. And the last like quarter of the book, I was just like, okay. So yeah, disappointing. Next up, we have A Taste of Darkness by 13 authors. This was a 4 star overall. I really enjoyed this. There was some that I enjoyed more than others. There was only one of these 13 stories I didn't like, and that was the one before the last one. But apart from that, I loved all of them. My favourite, though, was The Visit in Grey by Kat Ellis. That one was just perfect. But I think my other favourites were How to Disappear by Rosie Talbot, The House with Teeth by Amy McCall, The Wolf and the Witch by Maria Kuznia was really good. St. Clover by Melinda Salisbury gave me chills. And The Waters Crept In by Dawn Kirtridge. That one was okay. It was lower down on my favourites, but I still really enjoyed it. The Party by Louis Stowell was really good as well. Oh, and I really liked The Chiming Hour by Amy McCulloch. But yeah, there's so many. And all but one were incredible. Next, I did my reread of House of Earth and Blood and tabbed the daylights out of it. Obviously a 5 star. I absolutely love this book. I forgot just how much I cry at it, which was great. It was great. But also, I forgot about things that when I get to book 3 again, I'm like, this woman. Next, I read Raisin Hell by Bryony Pierce, and this was a 3 star. This had such potential. I was really enjoying this, but I just felt overall it was just a bit I did like, there is a little twist near the end. I don't want to spoil it. How can I say this without spoiling? So this is a witchy demon thing, but there is another aspect to it that's caused by the witches that was just something I really wanted in a book. So I really enjoyed that, but overall I was just a bit, I felt a bit about it overall, which is why I ended up getting a 3 and not higher. But I did enjoy this one. This wasn't a 3-star, it was a 3-star. And then the final book that I read in October was The New Girl by R.L. Stine. So it's the first book in the bind up of the Fear Street. I'm going to be honest, I don't think I'm going to continue these books. This was a 3-star as well. So ending the month on 2 3-stars was not great, but we move on. This had really good potential, and it was going so well, and then it just was done. And I was like, what? This is so anticlimactic. And I understand that it's only like 139 pages, but surely you could have done the ending differently. It was a letdown, and I'm really disappointed. So I don't think I'm gonna read the rest in the Fear Street series, which is a shame because I have had this book for so long and it's so pretty. But oh well, it's fine. So that was my October wrap up. My favourite book of the month was A Pirate's Life for Tea, with an honourable mention for Two Can Play by Ali Hazelwood, because obviously, but this was my favourite book of the month. I'm so happy. So yeah, let me know in the comments below what your favourite book you read in October was, but I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Bye.